It was amazing. I felt so calm and present the whole time. Like, I, yeah, I was so confident getting into the ring. Um, Now there's like a few mishaps that happened. So we were in her town, so they didn't really play my walkout song or anything. And usually I think that would throw
Really?
me off.
Yeah.
I walked out to silence, which is kind of funny, but usually that would throw me off. But it was just like I was so calm, and when I got into the ring, I noticed my coach was like, she's nervous, and I could see her leg twitching, and that even gave me like even more confidence because of how calm I was able to remain getting into the ring. And like,
Yeah.
I have a video. So she got like a really long walkout, so I think we were waiting there for about 2 or 3 minutes, and I just have a video of like me waiting in the corner. But you know, there was like I was just so still, and you know, I was so focused and my eyes were in one place, and I felt amazing. Like, it was so good.
Yeah, but just like having your hand raised and all that at the end, the sensation experience of winning. How
Yeah,
was those feelings?
I I actually feel like it wasn't like a surprise to me at all. Like, when I won, it was just kind of like, yeah, well, this was gonna happen. Like, a few nights before, I was like drawing myself winning with my hand
Yeah.
raised and stuff. So it was kind of like, yeah, this was meant to happen. Um, what was like that feeling was great though. But what was even cuter was like it was an all woman show, so there was loads of younger girls that fought for the first time and like their friends that came to the show.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, when I got the belt, there was like a queue of the younger girls, and they were all lining up to get photos. And they were like, oh,
Yeah.
like their parents were lining up to get photos as well. It was like that was my favorite part of the night, was just like motivating the younger girls. You know, it was so
Yeah. Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
did you decide to reach out to me, and how did you hear about this whole thing?
Um, I decided to reach out to you because I used to struggle with my nerves a lot coming up to fights, and I feel like my nerves would cloud how I fought. Um, and sometimes I wouldn't perform to the best of my ability because of how I was feeling. So, I had a big opportunity, which was this fight, and I decided to just, you know, fix what needed to be fixed. Like, it was something I've been struggling with on and off for the past 2 years. Since there was a bit more pressure coming into fights. So yeah, I don't regret it. It would definitely was the best decision I could have made, and the best investment for myself as well.
But yeah, just give me some examples of things that would, you know, be be a challenge on fight
Mm,
week, or in your fight camp, one fight day.
um, the challenges I faced were mainly like self-belief and comparing myself to the girls I was fighting. Kind of forgetting about my own potential and the fighter I am, and you know, letting the negative thoughts take over. Um, when one negative thought started, you know, they would kind of spiral, and then I'd lose confidence in myself. And obviously what you're thinking during training or what you're thinking on a day-to-day basis, that translates into the ring. So I found that sometimes in between rounds it would multiply, and it would take the enjoyment out of fighting as well for me, because obviously that confidence wasn't really
Yeah.
there. mm.
And you find that you're at your best when you're having fun and enjoying yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Like, this fight, after working with you, the first 3 rounds I was in the corner, and I think it was even the first 2 rounds, my coach kind of said what he had to say. And then, because I was so present throughout the fight, and because I wasn't panicking and I wasn't stressing and I was using my eyes and I was able to, you know, focus properly, I wasn't even breathing too heavy, because I was able to control myself and control my emotions and control that breath.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so that made it a lot easier. And then, yeah, I felt the work that we did in there, because even from all the meditations and hearing your voice during the because we were working through, we did a lot of visualization together, but we also did a lot of meditations where you know, I am confident, I am strong. I
Yeah,
heard
the
all of that.
affirmations, yeah, positive statements, yeah,
Yeah, I heard all of that in between the rounds in my own head. Even walking out, I was able to like hear your voice, almost like it was like a daze, but I heard your voice and I believed it because it's true. Like there's, one thing you've taught me is that there's negative thoughts and there's positive thoughts. And the negative thoughts are just as real as the positive thoughts, or the positive thoughts are just as real as the negative. So you might as well believe in the positive.
yeah. And the negative ones come for free, they come relentlessly. So it's on us to make sure that we balance it out and that
Yeah.
we, make sure that we manifest and that we bring those positive statements. So again, one of the troubles that I have is explaining to people what mindfulness is. And you've given us some examples of how mindfulness has helped. But now, how would you describe mindfulness now that you've been through the
Um,
experience? Has it changed to what you actually thought what mindfulness was, or what we were going to do together? And now, how would you, define it or explain mindfulness to someone else?
I'd explain mindfulness as being present. Um, it's a process of like feeling your body and hearing your own thoughts and feeling your breath. Um, and it's a process of when you hear your thoughts to be able to control them, um, by using your breath and, by forming thoughts to suit you and your narrative. Yeah, I just like when I think of my mindfulness, I think of presence and, being there in your body and experiencing everything fully rather than on the go and going
Yeah,
through your
which
day to day where you're not like you're kind of just doing a task, every task, jumping from one to the other. When you're mindful, you're actually taking it in and you're feeling sometimes they're not the best emotions, but you're feeling all the emotions that go along with the
yeah.
journey.
How did you find the course? I mean, like, I think with you from very early on, there was some realizations. Oh, this is actually helping here. Can you, walk us through, the growth that you had during the course, and what little moments in particular along the way stood out to you?
um yeah, so before we started working together, I had a really overreactive mind. Like I was finishing college, so I was actually feel like I was like in the days the past year because it was all about go go go, get this done, um, get this assignment done, go to training, from training go to sleep, and it was just like a constant year of that. So I feel like that impacted my mind a lot, and I wasn't able to focus um as much on like going through life and enjoying it. So from very early on, we started with like 5 minutes of meditation, and then it was 10 minutes. I found the 5 minutes quite hard at the start, especially during our first session. Like I remember you were saying to close your eyes again, and I was like, oh no, again.
Yeah,
But within like a week or two, I was like my mind adapted to it, and I found it really, really enjoyable. Actually, it was like I was looking forward to doing it throughout the day. I was looking forward to sitting down with myself and just breathing and not worrying about the external factors that were going on. Um,
yeah,
so that was the first like realization I had, was how much peace I found within myself. The second one was when we started using the affirmations and I was sparring and I was able to come back to the breath. So sometimes sometimes in training I could get emotional, especially when I had a lot on my plate with assignments and stuff. So sometimes my emotions would just take over and I could like, I'd feel like crying or something so silly like that. But like a punch could set me off. But I realized when we started using the affirmations and meditating daily, I was able to control them emotions and kind of come back to the breath whenever I felt, something wasn't going my way. And then the more we used the affirmations, I could hear them in my own head,
yeah,
which translated into the fight because I heard them when I was walking out and I heard them when I was in between rounds. And yeah, it really showed. Like I
yeah.
felt the confidence boost that they gave me.
And just to explain a little bit on affirmations, those are positive statements. Um, but they sound a bit weird when you say, oh yeah, just tell yourself positive stuff. But the reason that is so powerful is because of this stream of thought. You're going to have thought after thought after thought, and the closer you get to something that's outside of your comfort zone, you're not feeling comfortable, the nature of those thoughts shift a bit. And we looked at your thoughts week by week, and in general, they're very green, right? In general, the autopilot, the thoughts that come naturally to you are very, seem to be positive. They're not too anxious. But for some people, and it's based on your history, your upbringing, your experiences, and what's going on in your life, thoughts could be a bit more anxious. They cause more anxiety. They cause a bit more stress, and you don't get to choose that. So you just get dealt the hand that you're dealt with of these thoughts that come relentlessly, and they're often warnings about the future of the past. So to have that skill, the ability to be aware of this phenomenon that's going on, and that's why we sit, that's why we observe, just to get comfortable with realizing what's actually going on, puts us in a position to say, that thought there that's just popped up randomly, is there something more skillful to help in this moment? So I can imagine fight week, maybe nerves or doubt, self critique, catastrophizing. Then in those moments to say, hey, I'm proud of myself. I believe in myself. I've worked hard for this. I see myself victorious. I'm a champion. I'm a warrior. And to go through some of those things, that's a game changer. Because although many people would like to say those things, they're just so overwhelmed by the bombardment. They're not used to this rhythm of negative thoughts that keep cycling through. Saying an affirmation doesn't really help. It just gets washed away in this wave of thinking. But we practice the mindfulness, that habit of, I notice a thought, let me do something about it. I notice a thought, let me do something about it. So that we choose from our toolbox what is the most relevant or necessary in this moment. Is there something more relaxing, something more that boosts my confidence, or something that makes me, focus, concentrate? And so just to explain those affirmations, it's let me now choose something skillful to be at the forefront of my mind. In spite of this wave of autopilot trying to hijack those situations, you're able to override that and say, no, I'm now choosing what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. So let me read out a couple of notes from our sessions over the. So in our first week, so after the first week, after you've done your your 7 days, some of the points, you'd learn to slow down a bit. You felt a bit calmer during the day. You said it was nice to sit with your thoughts rather than avoid them. You learn to label a couple of thoughts and log them, and you notice moments of presence after practice. The week 2, we began using the anchors. You notice an urge to practice. You incorporated a bit of journaling as well, and you said that the practice started feeling less intimidating and more peaceful. So the first week, not too sure what it is, or feeling it. I see a little bit now what's going on. In week 3, we gained a bit more clarity around thought loops. The more we observe, the more that we see there's a lot of repetition, and you start to feel some physical benefits, less tension, a bit more relaxation. Then by week 4, feeling increased control over fight-related anxiety. You were noticing those red, more challenging thoughts without reacting, and the visualization helped you feel more familiarity and calm. But just to show you that week by week is how this process helps you. First of all, what I initially thought it was, it's not that, and I start to see it. I'm feeling peaceful with it, and I'm starting to apply it in life, and then so that leads up to this question. Now, a week and a bit post fight, how upon reflecting on this whole process and some of them perhaps, what are the non-fighter related benefits of mindfulness for you that you've noticed?
Again, I feel more present. Like, I'm away with my family right now, and I just feel a lot more present. I feel a lot more at peace. Like, my family can be a bit intense sometimes and chaotic, but I feel very much like down. I don't know how to describe it, like down to earth. Like I feel so
Yeah.
grounded.
Hmm.
I'm able to kind of like enjoy the time away I am here, rather than kind of have my mind racing. Okay, well, I need to do this when I'm home. I should be doing this, because you still have them thoughts, but I'm able to control them, and kind of compartmentalize when to think them, when the right time is. And sometimes these thoughts come up, but they're not necessarily true as well. Like, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Okay, well, you should be also enjoying yourself. So,
Yeah.
thinking these thoughts isn't actually enjoying yourself. Um, but no, I feel a lot more in control of my thoughts. Like, sorry, I just want to go back as well to fight week. On the Monday
Yeah.
of fight week, I felt I was having really negative thoughts all day, and I was hitting the bag. I was kind of starting my weight cut as well. Um, and I was having these like awful thoughts of, she's better than you, and like, what's even the point of it? And I just, even hitting the bag, I just felt so down on myself. Um, so I sat down afterwards. I did like 5 rounds of shadow boxing, 5 rounds on the bag, just to kind of get us back on. And then I sat down, and I was like, I'm just like, this is an awful feeling. How I'm like, it's like in my stomach almost. So I sat
Yeah.
down and I did the visualization meditation, and I listened to the affirmations, and I noticed like that was the perfect way to take my mind off the negative thoughts. It was the
Hmm.
perfect way to like kind of distract my mind from them, and almost restart it. And kind of like, it's like putting a new system into my brain of thinking, putting a new way of thinking. And I came, like, it was 20 minutes that I did, I think, sitting down. And when I left, I felt so much better. I felt so much more grounded and peaceful. And that kind of led me to feeling more confident as well in my skills and my ability. And yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of moved
That's
away from, yeah, that kind of moved away from the outside life. But I just wanted to mention that as well.
yeah. But remember, this is a life skill.
Yeah.
As you continue, not only in your fight career, but in life, whatever challenges, whatever direction you choose to go, there's always going to be moments that suck. There's always going to be challenging moments that are outside of our comfort zone. But with these tools now, whether the chaos is up there or it's
Mm.
down there, that ability to remain equanimous, that equanimity, that balance.
Yeah, sometimes when something bad happens, it's not the end of the world, and like your first instinct is to react a certain way, but that's not necessarily the best thing to do. I feel like with mindfulness, you're able to think it through, and kind of, you know, understand what's happening. And then if there's a need for a reaction, you react. But most of the time there's not, and you're able to process it a lot better and then go through it.
Yeah.
Like, some things happen, and especially within life, like, you'll have hard times. So I feel like with reactions, you're only kind of making it harder for yourself. Whereas if you give yourself the time to think, and to, even journal, like journaling helps me a lot, which I kind of started getting back into when I started working with you. You're processing it through writing it out, rather than, reacting and then processing it, where you're giving it two reactions almost.
And remember, the wonderful thing about journaling is it helps to put out on paper deliberate thoughts, because we have random thoughts, and then we have the ability to be to choose.
Hmm.
And we have a wonderful brain, and we can think of whatever we want. We have that ability to like take ideas, combine them, brainstorm, etc., etc. And so journaling is a great way of being specific and just kind of, you know, um, thinking about a subject, exploring it, and seeing what comes out, being creative.
Hmm.
Rather, and why that's so nice is because otherwise it's, I'm worried about this or I got that, and tomorrow I need to do that and this and that. And it's understanding and learning. In the world of thinking in this brain, there's the stuff that I don't choose and the stuff that I choose. And I rarely do the stuff that I choose. It's usually the stuff that I don't choose, and I just kind of deal with it.
Hmm.
And so it's learning the difference. Hey, let me use this wonderful superpower of thinking in a skillful way.
Yeah.
And also, thinking aside, learning, what does it mean to be present? And how can we be present?
Mm-hmm.
It's like after you win, you can go home that night and think, oh, this is amazing, and having made great thoughts, and then the mind says, oh yeah, but what about this? I should have done better. I could have done this, and da 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 da. So it's learning those moments. Hey, let me enjoy this success. And then when I notice the thoughts that come in to try and hijack that away, so no, I know you're there, and I'm okay with that. I
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything about that. You are rising, but once I notice you, now I can. It's all on me. Then you extend those moments of joy. Let me really enjoy the win. Let me make it a whole week. It's on you. So it's not only let's stop the suffering, but let's start thriving and flourishing in life.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So final question now. It's more of a open one. But what matters most to you? I'm gonna leave it open.
In life,
However you want to interpret it. What matters most?
um, I think that would be happiness. That's like making myself happy and being happy. Through making myself proud, through making my family proud, through being a good person and sharing that positive feeling with other people, um, whether that's through helping them or maybe just, acts of kindness. Um, yeah, that would be my answer. So my dad passed away, so my biggest thing is just making my dad proud. Um, and you know, being a good person, that's what matters most to me. Yeah.
Wonderful. And in the many podcasts that I've done over the years, especially the mindfulness related ones, when I ask my guests that question, one of the things that recurring themes is, the want to help others, give back. So it's nice that you mentioned that, as part of that answer, it's the helping others and making
Mm,
others proud. All right, well, it's been as a coach, it's been just fantastic to have you as a student, just like the fast progress, and because you were doing the homework as well. So yeah, we'll round up. We'll finish it up next week with the final session. It's more about setting the future. Like, how do we make these a habit now? How do we start making this a life skill? And
yeah, I'm really excited.
yeah, and it's something that you can continue to use as a fighter. And like I said, for me, when my fighters go out, it's more how are they feeling in fight week? How do they cope with the weight cut? How was their
Mm,
nerves on weighing day and the face off in the
yeah,
morning? And then in their walkout, were they feeling good or were they nervous? And I don't mind if they're nervous, but how do they manage that? What were they doing skillfully in response to that? And in the ring, when they face adversity, are they being mindful? Are they being present? Are they listening to their coaches? So win or lose, it's more, are they implementing that? Because then for the next fight in your next camp, you can start strengthening those, all those little mental bits. So it's not only physical technique and stamina and that, but it's your mental stamina and your mental strength. Because ultimately, like we said, being happy, mental health will result in you putting on a better performance and just enjoying the whole process a bit more.
yeah. Well, it definitely helps in everything, like you said, like behind the scenes when you're warming up, and that's kind of when I usually feel the nerves kicking in. It was able to
Yeah.
actually enjoy all of it as well, and I'm excited to set up the future because obviously, kind of with every fight you fight, the higher up you go, the more pressure there is on you with every fight. So I'm excited to keep doing what we were doing because it definitely helped me with this one, and I can't wait to like see what happens after 3 months of doing this and 6 months of doing this. So
Yeah. Well, congratulations again on that. Any news or on a potential next fight?
yeah, so we're looking at 6 weeks, and then we're looking at another title fight in December. So this one will be at a lower weight. So the two of these might be at a lower weight, so there'll be a bit more of a weight cut for this one. which would be great to implement what we were working on again, because for this one I didn't really have too much of a weight cut. So yeah, 2 more fights before the end of the year hopefully, and then I'll be looking at getting into semi-pro and professional fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.